Okay, hold on 1 second. It is noon Eastern. I am National Sales Director Diane Mentplay, and I am so excited to see everybody tuning in. So before we get started, if you are not muted, please be sure you have yourself muted, because we are not going to want to miss one thing from this incredible woman who you are going to hear from today. I hope you guys are as excited as I am, because I think she is going to rock our world this morning. Okay, so happy July, happy new seminar year. Congratulations on qualifying to be here with us this morning. And of course, we are going to continue this every month because the feedback has been incredible. People, excuse me, are rising to the bar and above. And so, of course, I am already contemplating, okay, where can we go? So we're at 10,000 here. What can we do at 20 and above? So I'm already thinking about that. So stay tuned, okay? All right, so you guys, I am going to go ahead and introduce April. I think April is here. April, yes?
I am.
Okay, yay, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Let me get you in here with me. So we are so excited to have you be here. You must be like on cloud nine. Are you just like, I am sure. And so valid to be feeling that way. Okay, so you guys, let me read April's accolades and just share a little bit with you, okay? So April has been building her Mary Kay business for 15 years, and I need glasses. Okay, April has been building her Mary Kay business for 15 years. She earned her first car in 9 months from starting her business, debuted as a sales director exactly 1 year after buying her starter kit. She earned her first pink Cadillac 6 months after debuting. She has now earned the use of 9 free cars, 8 of them Cadillacs. Her unit is in qualification to earn their 9th. I'm assuming that wrapped up in June 30th. Yes, like with no trouble. And you've been setting the pace ever since you got started. April has led her unit to their highest year of before this year, of over 750,000 in sales. That was her highest year. She's earned 5 top sales director trips in her career: Alaska, Argentina, Scotland, and also 2 of the trips were during COVID, when they gave the $10,000 bonuses for those. And this year, they were not only on target to finish their first million, but they finished their first $1 million year. Number 1 in the state of Ohio, number 1 most improved, no surprise. Last year, I asked April, what did they do last year? And it was 650 last year. So they went from 650 to over $1 million. So we don't know the exact amount that she finished, but it's over $1 million. Okay, so let's see. What else can I tell you? Her highest check in 1 month is over 28,000. Let's see. Her team's biggest goal and focus right now is building their national area. And I'm going to come back to that in a second. Okay, so April has been married to Chad for 16 years, and Mary Kay has been a way for them to purchase a home, go on mission trips, and sponsor 3 children in Nigeria, and build a lifestyle of their dreams around their 2 children, Levi and Elijah. Levi is 2 years old, and Elijah is 17 years old. And what April is passionate about most is having a lifestyle of choices and mentoring women how to live out their own dreams through the vehicle of Mary Kay. And you guys, seminar, so this seminar year finished over $1 million. They have 7 first line, 4 DIQs first line, 2 second line, 4 second line DIQs going in August 1st, a 3rd line DIQ going in August 1st. They have 43 people in her future national area attending seminar, which is incredible. Okay. Their area finish is planned for having everything done by December, so that you go to leadership conference appointed as a brand new national sales director, right? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And you guys, I think based on what you and I have talked about before, April, and what I think you're going to probably mention today, you tell me, is that, there was a shift last year after seminar. You finished trip, but there was a different shift that happened. And you guys, if you think about it, one of the things that we've always heard, I remember hearing it myself as a sales director, is that it's this 18 months, 18-month window from when you really make a decision, not just saying, I want to, I need to, I see myself there, but making a different decision to actually get out and create a national area. So it's 18 months. So that would have been from then to you going to leadership as a national is an 18-month period. And, what I want you to know is that I have admired you from afar. I am so incredibly excited, and we are so incredibly excited to watch this area come together and for you to come to leadership this next year as a national sales director. You have an incredible story. I think what I love so much about you and what I see, because it really has been from afar. I've never really been able to spend a lot of time with you, but what I have seen from afar is that you have the right heart for all people. You're authentic, and you're the same person in front of the camera as you are behind the camera. And I love that about you. And, there are lots of things that you have going on in your life, a lot of, with your family, with the kids, with the work that you're doing and to sponsor the children and just everything else. But yet you're able to truly, we say in Mary Kay that you can have it all, and you are living and walking and showing women that they can have it all, and that they don't have to sacrifice, and that they can make choices that serve their future, but not just their future, but those that they're going to lead, and that those women that God is going to put in their path. And so it's so exciting to be able to watch you walk this out. And I can't wait to celebrate you as a brand new national sales director. So I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you so much. I'm honored that you asked me to speak. And as you were sharing about, the numbers that we have and the offspring, and it's surreal. I honestly felt like you were talking about someone else. And I'm really excited and honored to share about what's happening in my business right now. And one thing I want to share that just came to me that's on my heart, and it's not in my notes, but I want to just share one of my fears of stepping into building a national area with a deadline. One of my fears all those years, because it's been on my heart for 10 years to be a national. But one of the fears was it's going to require way more of my time. And I already felt like I was in it. I was in it and working and grinding, every day. So how would I give more time? Like that was a limiting belief for me, that I think that I really realized after I stepped into setting the deadline and actually seeing things unfold. And what I can tell you is that it has not required more of my time. I was already devoting a good, hours every day, 6 days a week, but it required more belief. And that was one of the shifts that I'm going to talk about. It required me to fully step in wholeheartedly into believing that I can do it, I am doing it, and I will do it now. And so I just want to share that. That is not in my notes, but as Diane was speaking, it came to me like somebody might need to hear that it might not require more time from you. It might require like a shift mentally in your belief, which then leads to, and this is what happened for me, it led to me doing different things, like working what I was doing and who I was talking to and the way I was talking about my goals and the way I was talking about the goal to other people and asking people to rise up too, that was what changed. And so, anyway, we just had a really, really exciting year, like Diane said. And I just, like she said, I did begin my business 15 years ago, but really this dream started 10 years ago when I was on stage debuting with Julia Burnett, my national sales director, and I got to be one of her directors that debuted with her. And so I was on the stage and I was in the moment, and that dream was planted on my heart at that time. And at that time, I had not been on a top director trip, and I had 2 offspring that I would say it accidentally happened. It wasn't because I like dug in and wanted to raise up a leader. They just were leaders in, you know, in who they were. And I think I said this, I hadn't been on a top director trip, but that was a goal that I had at that time. So I was 5 years into my business and I really wanted to be on a trip. So I was setting that goal every year, year after year. And we finally did get there. It was 9 years into my business when I went on my first top director trip. But the dream to build a national area was there all those years, for 10 years, since 2013. And Diane, I think that actually you and Julia offspring in the same year, right? You were a part of the 13 that did that. And that was when I first was, got to know who Diane was from afar, you know, and loving her. And anyway, I never, all the years, never had more than 3 or 4 offspring at a time until these last 6 months. And now, like she said, we do have 7 first line, 2 second line, 4 first line DIQs, and more coming by August 1st that are red jackets primed and ready, and they'll have their 10 or their 8 in place. What a gift. But my word this year is breakthrough, and it really has been a breakthrough year. And as the last 10 years have unfolded, the dream to be an NSD was always there under the surface. So I don't know if any of you have that, you know, that dream has been there and it's under the surface. But for me, it was never with a clear deadline or a clear focus of putting it together. And that was something I had a hard time wrapping my mind around. It was something that held me back. Aside from like, well, is this going to require more time from me? And how does that look? Aside from that fear, it was, how do you set a deadline for this and figure it out and put it together? How does that even happen? And like Diane said, I had been to lots of events where I heard that it's from the decision to debut a national area that you can put it together. And when I would hear that, I would always wonder, how is that possible? How is that possible? It was a limiting belief and a fear that I had. So here was the major shift. There was a couple different major shifts, but the first one actually was 18 months from to like this time. So 18 months ago. It was January of 2022 at Leadership Conference. And that January, Pam Shaw, who's my senior national sales director, she was my NSD for the first 5 years of my business, and then became my senior NSD. And I'm part of the Epic family. And she gathered all of her directors in the Epic family at Leadership Conference that year and basically spoke to, I retire in 3 years. And her goal is to offspring 5 more NSDs in her Epic family. And who is going to spend those last 3 years with her as an NSD? And her sharing this awakened that dream in me. It awakened it in a way that I really can't describe. I know that it was a God-given dream, and I know that was, you know, that was how it shifted me. It was divine. But I knew that I wanted to be one of her 5. I wanted to spend that time with her as an NSD, as an active NSD. And it gave me a deadline. It was like me not creating the deadline, but it gave me a deadline to run with. And because I had heard it takes 18 months, I set the goal to debut our area by June of 2023. So that would have been this past June. And that did not happen, but we are finishing by December, and we're perfectly set up for that. And At that time, let me share with you where I was in January of 2022. I had 3 offspring, 6 red jackets, and a unit size of 150. And I had a conversation with Pam that was, what needs to happen for me to put this together in 18 months? Because I can't connect the dots. How does somebody do that? And what she very specifically said to me, and I'm so grateful for Pam's strategy and how she can just take it and put it into like, this is what you have to do right now. And what she said was, for you to have more leaders come up out of your unit, you need a bigger unit size. And for you to have more leaders raise up out of your unit, you need more red jacket leaders in your unit. And so, she's like, you're looking at, you need to increase your unit size and you need to go for 20 red jackets, like right now. And I had 6. So I want to share with you the 8 things that changed, that shifted from that January 2022 leadership conference and that conversation with Pam and setting the goal that I was going to do it in 18 months. I want to share with you the things that changed. And I'm going to come back to the numbers and the strategy and what I did that changed and what I focused on. But here's the 8 things. The first thing was what I just shared with you. I had a deadline. So it was a deadline that was kind of given to me, but having the deadline, that was so key. And I didn't want it to be any more than 18 months. And because, I kind of just knew like, well, if other people are saying that they could go from a decision to 18 months later, debut in a national area, then my deadline's 18 months later. That's what I'm going to do. And that's within Pam's 3 years. So that's what we're doing. And then the second thing that changed was I wrote out qualities of the women that I wanted to be a part of building our area. And I identified these qualities. And that was something that during that training where Pam gathered her EPIC directors and spoke about, building a national area and what that would look like and who's going to raise up into that. She spoke about identifying the very specific qualities of the women you want to be a part of your area and your organization. And then how are you going to attract those qualities? And so these are the qualities I wrote down. And this is a journal. When I got home from that leadership conference in January, I started a new journal. And I said, this was going to be my journal about building my national area. And the first thing in there, you guys, is a prayer that I wrote, and then something else I'm going to share with you in a minute. But the third page is the qualities. These are the qualities, and I've been praying over these. And what's amazing is the women who have debuted as directors in the last 3 to 6 months. I look at this list and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so amazing that God has delivered. Like these women have every single quality on this list. So here's my list. Bring me women who have or could have hope and vision, passion and hunger, work ethic and grit, love to win, emotionally and mentally sound. We've had some laughs over that one because I've shared my list with my girls and they're like, well, but they're emotionally and mentally sound. They're ready and willing, no drama, no excuses, will move quickly, coachable, and a student. And then I wrote down at the bottom here, and I guess this was just something that had come to me, but I will be grateful for it before it comes. And those qualities I've been praying over. So then the third thing that has changed is I got really clear on a 90-day game plan. And this was back to that conversation I shared with you that Pam and I had, and the strategy behind it. But what she told me was we needed a quantum leap within 90 days, and it had to be fast. And that meant to grow my unit by 100 in 90 days. And then to also get to 20 reds as fast as possible. So those 2 goals together. And that became my focus. That was it. I launched it to my unit we're going to, grow by 100. And I just said 100 in 100 days just for the, fun of that. But 100 in 100 days, I created a beautiful tracking sheet. My assistant did. We printed and laminated this big banner, 100 in 100 days. And then we had another banner for 20 reds. We're growing to 20 reds. And that was my game plan. My strategy was, and I wrote this down in my journal, so I want to show this to you. My strategy was 40 guests like that hear the marketing plan at an event, or career marketing chats a week, 40 a week, so that we hit 160 for the whole month, so that we added 30 new in a month, so that we added 30 new in 190 days, or that would like set us up 30 new in a month. And at that time, you all, we were not adding 30 new. We were adding 10 new a month. Okay. And then 20 reds. And then I also wanted to focus on 20 reds in my second line, because I had 3 offspring at the time. And I wanted to kind of dig in with them, like, well, how can your people play a part? What reds do you have? So that was my strategy. That was my focus, 100 new in 100 days. And then how many career chats a week, and what does that look like? So I was really clear on what steps, like what my action steps were right now and what that needed to look like. And then the fourth thing that I did that shifted is I launched this to my unit as like a reignited vision. And I got clear on all these things, like what was our focus and what was our strategy and what was the big promotion that I was running with which had to do with reds and the 100 new. I got clear on all of that. And then I launched it, and it was a big launch. And I made sure all my unit knew, like, you want to watch. I go live in my Facebook private group, and then I also do in-person meetings. And so I just made it a thing, like, you want to watch this live. And I poured my heart into it. Like, I poured my heart out to them when I shared about where this vision was birthed and what it meant for us to do this now, and what it meant for us to do it, to debut for Pam. And I just like shared all from my heart. And then I told him what our vision was and how we were going to do it and what the strategy was. And I just relaunched it. And it was so exciting to see the women that have been with me for years step into it, like where they were like, I'm in. I want to do this thing. And so that was back again, let me remind you, back in January of 2022. And by that June, so a year ago, we had 5 people go into DIQ. From the time I launched this vision and this focus to June, 6 months later, we had 5 go into DIQ. So at this time last year, that was where we were. We didn't have any other offspring. We had the 3 new offspring, 5 DIQs. At that time, none of the 5 made it. They didn't do it. They didn't finish it. They didn't become directors. Okay. So it was in August where I was like, okay, what needs to happen? What do I need to do? We're 6 months in, you guys, we have 1 year. Like, what am I going to do? And I felt like we weren't making progress, but that leads me to number 5. And what I did that shifted is I continued resetting the goal of 100 new and every 100 days and 20 reds. Like that was, I just kept replaying that. We're doing it again. We're doing it again. We're doing it again. The last 100 days, this is how many new we added. Now we're going after it again. And we, up until the last 6 months, we were not adding 100 new in 100 days, but we were making tremendous progress. And like I shared with you, in August of a year ago, I felt like we had not gotten anywhere, even though I knew that we had. But this is what Pam Shaw, she recently said this at our fall advance. And I just has stuck with me, and I have latched onto this. It's kind of become my mantra in my head. She said, most people don't go hard enough, long enough to gain enough traction. to see it all the way through. And I didn't want to be in that category. And I knew I'm in this for the long haul. I'm going to go long enough, hard enough, and we're going to see this traction. We're going to see it take hold, even though I wasn't seeing it yet. And so last August at this time, we had about 220 unit members and 9 reds. No new offspring. Okay, so January to August. And the 6th thing I did, so I want to jump into the 6th thing, is I cast the vision with everything, every conversation, every party, every event, every coaching call, every debut I did, I casted the vision. And that was a shift that happened in August of last year when I was asking myself, what do we need to do to put this together? I had a coaching call with Kristen Myers, National Sales Director Kristen Myers, in August, right after a seminar. And I shared with her about all the things that we were doing and how we just had 5 DIQs, but none of them made it through. And here we are. And that I saw movement, but I felt like things weren't happening fast enough. And she told me a story of how when she was building her national area, she did this big guest event, and that she wanted to cast the vision everywhere, to everyone. And she did this big guest event, and they were all leaving, and she realized, like, oh my gosh, I didn't share my vision of building our national area right now. And she ran out into the hallway. It was at a hotel. She ran out into the hallway and she was like, excuse me, please come back in. I forgot something. Have you all heard the story before? She's like, I forgot to tell you something. Please come back in. It's really, really important. And everyone shuffled back in and sat back down. And she just said, I'm so sorry that I didn't share this with you, but this is like really important. I have to share this. And she casted her vision to everybody after pulling them back into the room after they were already leaving. And she casted the vision. And then she asked me, do you do that? Like, are you casting your vision like it's that important that every single person that you're in front of has to hear this, because they could be your next offspring director? And it was a moment where I was like, oh, I can't honestly say, am I doing that at every moment, every conversation, every party, every event? And so I had a shift. And from that conversation with Kristen forward, I decided I would cast the vision everywhere I go, no matter what I see is happening, no matter where, whether I feel like things are happening or not happening or whatever, I'm casting this vision and I'm living in it. And it was a month later that Jackie was recruited, and I did her debut in October. And at her debut party, I shared the vision. And Jackie is an amazing woman, and she was hearing me. She was hearing it. She was catching it. And she stood up and she spoke about how she believes God put her in Mary Kay and how she's excited for all that this opportunity has to offer her. And as I drove home that night, it was a 2-hour drive from her debut. I drove home and I felt like just a stirring, like, oh my gosh, Jackie could be one of my 20 directors. And shortly after that, I called Jackie and I told her that I see her as a sales director, and would she want to go to leadership conference as a DIQ? And Jackie didn't make it to DIQ as to go to leadership conference in Nashville, but because of that conversation and Jackie committing to building her Red Jacket team, she called Gwen. And Gwen joined Jackie's team in January. And from January to the month of April, Gwen became a sales director with a DIQ, and her DIQ, Caitlin, just finished. And Gwen earned a car, and Caitlin's about to earn a car this month. And it all started from casting the vision and someone catching it and buying in on my vision that I was casting, and then recruiting somebody that, boom, went for it. And that was a turning point. Number 7 is I started seeing people differently and boldly asking them to step into the vision, which is that conversation with Jackie. And I've had multiple conversations like that. And you all, years ago and through the 10 years, I have not had I can't think of a time where I've had bold conversations asking women to step into the vision and how would it impact them and their families in a way that I have been, because I'm so committed on making this happen and putting it together. And Caitlin, who I just spoke about, that just debuted as a director from Gwen's new unit, she's one of our second line. She joined in February, and in March and April, in her first 2 months, she became a team leader. And in April, I was at Inner Circle weekend with Pam Shaw, and I was really like praying about and thinking about who could step into this, who could step into being our next DIQ. And Caitlin came to my heart. So I texted her. I said, Caitlin, I want to have a conversation with you if you're open to it. You're on my heart to be one of our 20 directors. I really believe you could do it. You are a leader. You can use that in 3K. And if you're open to having that conversation, can we have that conversation? And she said, yes. She responded right away. Yes, let's talk. I don't really know what all that means, but let's have a conversation. So we talked that Monday, and she decided to go for it, went into DIQ just like that next week at the end of April. And here she is as a new director. And she shared on Monday at our big celebration, we did just a big New Year celebration. And she shared that I wouldn't have done it if April didn't call me and ask for me to do it. But her reason wasn't for me. Her reason is because her husband can leave his job that he's been wanting to leave. And then she would have him at home with their 2 kids. And so there's her deeper reason for that. But I called her to a higher level than she believed in herself. And because I believed in her and I told her she could do it, and because that belief she didn't have in herself yet, she wanted to step into that and challenged herself. And she said, I didn't believe I could do it, but I like worked off of April's belief in me, and I wanted to rise to the occasion. And so she did. And you all, I just want to share, I really feel like I am in the middle of a move of God right now, but I also know that the 10 years of work and the seeds that have been watered and growing and, all of that over the 10 years, all of that journey has led me here to this moment. And as we're putting this together, my other new director, Kristen, she just debuted, and we were all crying on Monday about this because this huge accomplishment for her has been on her heart for 10 years. And she's been in my unit for 11 years and has never once submitted for DIQ until 3 months ago. And she said, she was crying, and she said, I was there when this dream was born for April. I was there when she turned to us at seminar and said, we're going to do that years ago. And she said, I remember where it started, and now I get to be a part of it coming together. And people want their leader to have a big vision. Is what I'm seeing, is they want their leader to have a big vision and to go after it wholeheartedly and to talk about it constantly. And it gives them a reason to go after their dreams and permission for them to step into it. And I want to share the 8th thing is that the 8th shift is staying in total belief. And I mentioned this earlier, and living in my vision. No matter what I see or what fears creep in, or, I can't let myself go to, oh my gosh, we only have this amount of time. Because that's irrelevant, because God can do anything in a moment. And I'm hanging on to that belief, but the trust that God is leading me and that he knows who is meant to be a part of this and that it can and will happen. That's what I'm hanging on to, and reminding myself that more is in God's control than in my control. I can control my activity and my belief, and he controls who is moved and who is ready for this. But I have to stay in total belief, and I have to do the work and cast the vision. And early on, I wrote out what I wanted to consistently pray for. My national Julia Burnett, she is always saying, she's always saying 2 things. One is that she believes, the 2 ingredients for someone to really go after their dreams, and do something really big is high level of belief and high level of activity. Those 2 things. If one of those is missing, then, whatever, you can feel stuck or be a stumbling block, but those are two things. And then the other thing that she tells us, her directors, all the time, is she says, you know, I prayed for God to give me passion. Like, I prayed for passion, and he gives it when you ask. Like, ask and you shall receive. And if you lack passion, pray for it. If you lack belief, pray for it, ask for it. And so I wrote down the things that I wanted to remember to consistently ask God to give me. And that was the first thing in my prayer journal. And this was what I wanted to consistently know that I needed from him, that I knew that I could falter on or that could hold me back, but I knew he could deliver. And I want to give you my list. It's surrender. I wanted to pray for surrender consistently, passion, fire, focus, direction, clarity, grit, fruit, belief, faith, and then my children, of course, and your will, for God's will to be done. And I wrote a little reminder down at the bottom of my page: everything is just as it's supposed to be right now. And God has been delivering on all of that. And it's amazing to see it unfold. So our focus of building to 20 reds and 100 new every 90 days, that has created this unstoppable freight train, really, a year later. So 1 year later, from last January to March, you know, where we were going in that first 100 days, to this past March and April, we had 22 reds. A couple months ago is, you know, where we were, 22 reds, 350 unit size, and a whole bunch of, we had like 8 DIQs. Now some debuted as directors, and then we have 4 more right now. But that was what, a year later, where we were. And we're continuing on with that focus as we finish. So that's what I have for you all. Thank you for having me and asking me to share and speak, Diane. I so appreciate it.
April. Oh my gosh. My heart just is exploding for you. Just for all that you just laid it all out in just a very easy way to understand. There was not one doubt that anyone could have that they are in the right place right now, this morning, to be able to receive everything that you just gave. And everybody has their marching orders of, if you want to debut as a national area, if you want to get to somewhere different, everything that April just shared with you, that's the magic bullet. If there was a magic bullet, that is the magic bullet. I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled for you. I'm thrilled for our company. I'm thrilled for the gift that you just gave everybody, and the hope that you just instilled in them that they can make this happen. So I would love for some of them to be able to deliver back to you and just thank you and affirm you for what you shared. So I would love for a few of you to
oh my gosh, National, thank you for first of all allowing us to affirm April, because April, I don't know if you probably didn't read it in the chat, but you are an answered prayer. Earning the right to be in this room is an answered prayer. We came into the business the exact same time, and I didn't have a 10-year vision of National. I just got that vision maybe about 4 years ago that I wanted it. And our goal was like yours, to be done this year, this time. But even though we are not, and we're a long way away, it doesn't matter, because the belief you spoke about is solid. And that's the belief I walk in. The strategy, the numbers, that's what I was missing. And those personal calls, seeing people differently and reaching out to them. Girl, all I got to say is God is going to be jumping around doing cartwheel flips in heaven when you and your national area walk across that stage. And I don't know what seminar you're in. I'm Diamond, but you better know that you got a Diamond seminar girl in Houston, Texas that is cheering you and your national area on. And I thank you and God bless you, girl. Get it.
Thank you so much. Cheering you on.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, there is so much power in seeing people and their possibilities and not where they are. It's
Yeah.
meeting them where they are, but growing them into the vision of who you know that they are called to be.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So good. Okay. Who's next?
Hi, April. I don't know if you can hear me. My name is Stephanie. I'm from Michigan, and I am a full-time high school special education teacher on spring break right now, or on summer break. And I have to say, I'm not going to lie, I have definitely been in a different season. I just celebrated my 5th anniversary. And when she said just a few minutes ago, I definitely prayed for you and for your message, because it has been I never even make these calls half the time because I'm in school, and I just started watching my grandson. So I have him like right here while I'm taking notes. And I just have to say that I have struggled with the whole time thing and having to give more time to my business, because I just don't want to lose that time with my new grandson and with my last son in high school. And just hearing you say that it doesn't necessarily require more time, but more belief. I just think that's huge, because there are so many working moms in my unit who I know would love to do more. They just don't think they can. And so for me, I don't want to give up the things I don't want to miss, but at the same time, I just need to believe a little bit more. So I just have to tell you, what a way to start our seminar year. I wasn't even going to try to make this call today because, I've just had him and he was sick, and I just, made it happen and threw my jacket on. And I just have to tell you, thank you, because I didn't know what I was praying for when I prayed for it. And I just have to tell you, thank you, because I just can't even tell you. So just thank you. Good luck. And we are definitely cheering for you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you
Awesome.
for sharing that. Well, and I have a 2-year-old, you all, when I went after this and decided he was maybe 10 months. And that was where that fear was like, how am I going to give more? I have a 2-year-old and a 16-year-old at the time, or whatever, 1-year-old, 16-year-old. But that's not always how it works.
Hey, we have time for one more. Who would like to affirm April and all the incredible?
Jackie Marasegan, Bakersfield, California.
Yay, let me find you. Keep talking.
All right. Well, April, I am so glad that I was on today, because when I saw the topic on the flyer, I'm like, this is a conversation I need to hear. And after hearing everything that you've presented, I literally was getting chills, because it was affirming exactly what I have already been planning. I just did my next 90-day planner. Okay. And I just received that the only way that I'm going to be where I want to be in the next 3 years, I fully intend to debut as national sales director in the next 3 years. And in order to do that, I just have to add 100 new every 90 days. And so to hear you say that, it was such a confirmation of what I had received. And I have little ones too. I've got a 4-year-old and a 16-month-old. And exactly what you were saying, it's like, how am I going to fit this in? It's like, I don't know, but it has to happen. So thank you. Just thank you for your excellence. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Wow. Cheering you on. That's awesome.
Oh my gosh. Well, April, I think this one's going down in the record books as the best. Yeah, like really, truly. Somebody posted and said this call is life, and it is. You just gave life to everybody, and it was the perfect timing as they're starting a brand new seminar year. And all of the gifts that the company has given us with debuting Offspring and the getting in with 8 and everything else. So you just fueled the fire. So thank you so much. We are cheering you on. And I can't wait I guess the next time I see you, it will be at Leadership Conference.
Yes. It's exciting.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much. Thank you, Diane, for asking me to speak. And thank you all. So much love and belief in all of you.
You
Have a
are
great
welcome.
seminar year.
Okay, you guys. So July, remember, hopefully you saw the flyer for July that next month, when you hit 10 this month, not only do you get to come onto the Zoom, but your unit members get to come onto the Zoom. As many as you can get on. Okay, so that will be next month. All right, you guys, have a great July. Remember that don't skip July. Don't skip July, right? July happens now. And the other thing, two other things I wanted to share with you is what have you been willing to work for and what are you willing to do right now? So don't let July pass you by. Everything that you just received, take action now. It's all about now, okay? And I will see you next month. Have a great seminar.